Welcome to Tech with Koushik. This is set 1 of our AB-100 Agentic AI Business Solutions Architect practice question series. Choose your answer before the timer ends. Then review the correct answer, detailed explanation, and exam tip. Keep track of your score and see how exam ready you are. Each practice set is completely standalone, so you can start here without watching any of the other sets first. Playlist link is in the description. Let us begin set 1. Question number 1 is a good test of exam judgment. This one tests your understanding of AI solution frameworks. Focus on the requirement that drives the design choice. Contoso Medical is replacing a legacy B2B sales platform with Dynamics 365 Sales. A Copilot Studio agent will use Dataverse as its primary business data source. The architecture team must apply Microsoft guidance both to the Intelligent Power Platform workload and to the overall Dynamics 365 implementation lifecycle. Complete each recommendation by selecting the most appropriate Microsoft framework. The first blank appears in. For architecture best practices for the Copilot Studio workload, use the blank. Choose the stronger fit from 1. Success by design, Microsoft Power Platform well-architected framework, Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure, or ELM Accelerator for Microsoft Power Platform. The second blank appears in. For implementation guidance across the Dynamics 365 project lifecycle, use the blank. Choose the stronger fit from 2. Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure, Success by Design, ELM Accelerator for Microsoft Power Platform, or Microsoft Power Platform Well-Architected Framework. After elimination, Statement 1 uses Microsoft Power Platform Well-Architected Framework. The Power Platform Well-Architected Framework is the workload architecture guidance for Power Platform and Copilot Studio solutions. After elimination, Statement 2 uses Success by Design. Success by Design is the Dynamics 365 implementation framework for guiding the project across its implementation stages. Remember this decision rule. Separate workload architecture guidance from Dynamics implementation methodology. Power Platform Well-Architected evaluates the workload. Success by Design guides the Dynamics 365 implementation lifecycle. For question number 2, separate the requirement from the distractors. Look for the wording that eliminates the distractors. Northwind Manufacturing uses Dynamics 365 Finance and Supply Chain Management. Its in-app Copilot help must answer questions from an internal process handbook. The team must add the handbook as knowledge without creating a separate Copilot Studio topic. Which knowledge source approach should you recommend? Compare the options by fit, not by familiarity. Next, option A. Add a public website as the knowledge source. Next, option B. Connect Microsoft Dataverse as the additional knowledge source. Next, option C. Upload the handbook file directly to the agent. Next, option D. Create an Azure AI search knowledge source. The correct choice is option C. Upload the handbook file directly to the agent. Here is the reasoning that confirms the answer. Uploading a file is the supported way to add custom knowledge directly to the finance and operations in-app help experience without requiring a new topic for the source. The remaining options fail one or more requirements because A. A public website is not the direct file-based extension required by this in-app help scenario. B. Dataverse does not satisfy the requirement to add this handbook without the additional topic pattern used for other knowledge types. D. Azure AI Search is useful for indexed grounding scenarios, but is not the direct no new topic approach described here. Watch for this clue in similar questions. For finance and operations generative help, distinguish direct file knowledge from knowledge source extensions that require additional topics. Focus on the key wording in question number 3. This scenario tests whether you recognize the controlling constraint. Fabricam Engineering is designing generative in-app help for Dynamics 365 Finance. The help experience must prioritize answers grounded in company-approved operating procedures and minimize unsupported responses. Complete the design recommendations. Now solve Statement 1. Company-specific knowledge files the blank. The candidates are 1. Must be excluded from the agent, must be uploaded to the agent, or are not supported. Now solve Statement 2. AI general knowledge the blank. The candidates are 2. Must be enabled for the agent, is not supported, or must be disabled for the agent. For Statement 1, the best fit is must be uploaded to the agent. Company-specific files must be made available to the agent for grounding. For Statement 2, The best fit is must be disabled for the agent. General knowledge should be disabled when the requirement is to minimize responses not grounded in approved business content. Exam strategy. When accuracy depends on authoritative business content, ground the agent in approved sources and restrict broader knowledge when the product allows it. Question number 4. Tests careful elimination. Next, we enter the topic of AI telemetry. Identify the decisive constraint before considering the options. AdventureWorks deploys a Copilot Studio sales support agent. The operations and security teams require detailed trace telemetry that can include the signed-in user's identifier, username, conversation messages, and sensitive activity properties so investigators can analyze agent interactions. Which service should the solution architect connect to the agent for this detailed telemetry? Watch for distractors that are valid services but wrong for this scenario. Consider option A, Application Insights. Consider option B, the Analytics tab in Microsoft Copilot Studio. Consider option C, Model Context Protocol, MCP. Consider option D, Microsoft Foundry Tracing. The best answer is option A, Application Insights. The key clue points here because Copilot Studio supports agent-level telemetry with application insights. When the relevant logging settings are enabled, conversation details can include user ID, username, and message text, and sensitive activity properties can also be captured for detailed investigation. B. The Copilot Studio Analytics tab focuses on agent performance, usage, response quality, and outcomes rather than the required detailed application telemetry. C. MCP is an extensibility protocol for exposing tools and context, not a telemetry destination. D. Microsoft Foundry Tracing applies to Foundry workloads and does not replace Copilot Studio's application insights integration for this requirement. Use Copilot Studio Analytics for business and agent performance insights. Use application insights when the requirement is detailed operational telemetry and trace-level investigation. Move to question number 5. Review the scenario. Tailspin Insurance is piloting a Copilot Studio agent for its sales representatives. Executives require evidence of monetary savings before approving wider deployment. The architect wants to use an existing Microsoft product capability and compare agent runs with the cost of the current manual process. Complete the ROI measurement design. Statement 1. Identify the clue in. Use the blank to measure realized agent savings. Eliminate between 1. Dynamics 365 Sales, Microsoft Copilot Studio, Microsoft Foundry, or Azure Resource Monitor. Statement 2. Identify the clue in. For the monetary baseline per successful run, capture the blank. Eliminate between 2. The current Dynamics 365 license cost, the cumulative time spent on the process during the previous year, the current cost to complete one transaction manually, or the current duration of one transaction. Complete Statement 1 with Microsoft Copilot Studio. Copilot Studio provides the relevant agent savings analytics. Complete Statement 2 with the current cost to complete one transaction manually. A per transaction current process cost is the baseline needed to estimate monetary savings from successful agent runs. A useful exam pattern is this. ROI requires both agent outcomes and a comparable no-agent baseline. For money saved, use the current fully loaded cost per transaction. Approach question number 6. By checking every constraint, the focus now shifts to Copilot Studio ELM. Pay attention to qualifiers such as least, most, and minimum. Blue Yonder Logistics has a Copilot Studio agent that calls internal freight AP is through custom connectors. The same connector definitions must move consistently through development, test, and production with governance, traceability, and repeatable releases. What ELM approach should you recommend? Eliminate every option that violates even one requirement. Next, option A. Export and import each connector manually as an unmanaged solution. Next, option B. Package the custom connectors as solution components and promote them through Power Platform ELM pipelines. Next, option C. Store the complete connector definitions only in environment variables. Next, option D. Rebuild the enterprise AP is as Azure functions before every release. The option that satisfies the complete requirement is option B. Package the custom connectors as solution components and promote them through Power Platform ELM pipelines. The decisive reason is custom connectors are lifecycle managed Power Platform solution components. Packaging them in solutions and promoting them with ALM pipelines provides controlled, repeatable deployment and traceability across environments. Check why each remaining option is not the best fit. A. Manual unmanaged imports weaken repeatability, governance, and release traceability. C. Environment variables hold environment-specific values. They do not replace lifecycle management of the connector component itself. D. Changing the API hosting model is unnecessary and does not solve connector ELM. Use this elimination rule in the exam. Treat agents, connectors, actions, and environment bindings as ALM assets. Don't substitute configuration variables for solution packaging. Question number 7 contains an important exam distinction. The key exam clue is contained in this scenario. City Power uses a Copilot Studio prompt and response agent for employee support. The operations team wants one metric that reflects the effectiveness and relevance of generated answers and another that summarizes how conversations conclude across topics. Select the most appropriate metric for each requirement. Use the context of each statement to select its drop-down value. For the first statement, evaluate. To assess effective and relevant generated responses, use the blank. Compare 1. Reactions, generated answer rate and quality, or tool use against the requirement. For the second statement, evaluate. To evaluate conversational outcomes across topics, use the blank. Compare 2. Tool use, satisfaction, or topics by outcome against the requirement. The clue in the first statement points to generated answer rate and quality. Generated answer metrics directly address effectiveness and relevance. The clue in the second statement points to topics by outcome. Topics by outcome is the outcome-focused conversational metric. Remember this decision rule. Match each metric to what it measures: generated answer quality, tool execution, user reaction, or conversation outcome. Let's analyze question number 8. Review the scenario and identify what must be achieved. Prosware Pharmaceuticals uses several AI models and supporting components to generate commercial recommendations. Security reviewers must compare every production release with earlier versions, and the business requires reliable rollback if a release introduces risk. Which lifecycle control design best satisfies both requirements? Check each option against the exact requirement. Choice A. Maintain a retirement calendar for every deployed model. Choice B. Store only the trained models in a central registry with version history. Choice C. Add a security quality gate immediately before production deployment. Choice D. Apply version control to all AI solution components used by each release. After elimination, select option D. Apply version control to all AI solution components used by each release. Versioning all AI solution components gives reviewers a complete history of what changed and supports reproducing or rolling back a known good release, improving auditability and continuity. Here is how to rule out the alternatives. A. A retirement schedule manages end-of-life timing, but not release-to-release change analysis or rollback. B. Model-only history omits prompts, configuration, code, data bindings, and other components that can change solution behavior. C. A quality gate controls promotion, but does not by itself preserve the complete prior state history needed for comparison and rollback. Watch for this clue in similar questions. For AI ALM, version the whole deployable solution when reviewers must reconstruct, compare, or roll back releases. Question number 9 is a good test of exam judgment. Treat this as a medium item and eliminate carefully. The key exam clue is contained in this scenario. Contoso Travel operates a Copilot Studio booking agent. The support team must choose the appropriate Microsoft tool for 3 different monitoring activities. Drag each monitoring requirement to the tool that best satisfies it. A tool can be used more than once. Start with these movable items. Source Item 1. View agent telemetry in near real time. Source Item 2. Download full conversation transcripts. Source Item 3. Review agent usage and performance analytics. The destinations to satisfy are: Destination A. Microsoft Power Apps. Destination B. Copilot Studio. Destination C. Application Insights. Destination D. Log Analytics. The first correct pair is View Agent Telemetry in near real time. To Application Insights. The second correct pair is Download full conversation transcripts. To Copilot Studio. The third correct pair is Review agent usage and performance analytics. to Copilot Studio. This option satisfies the complete requirement because application insights is appropriate for near real-time operational telemetry. Copilot Studio provides conversation transcript access and built-in usage/performance analytics for the agent. Exam strategy. Distinguish operational telemetry from product analytics. Application insights is for detailed live telemetry. Copilot Studio is the primary surface for agent analytics and transcripts. Question number 10. Scenario. Fourth Coffee has a Copilot Studio agent that must invoke an existing Power Automate desktop flow during order exception handling. Releases must validate the latest draft agent before publication and must exercise the desktop automation through the agent's orchestration path by using a supported integration pattern. Complete the test design. Statement 1. Identify the clue in. To validate the most recent agent changes before release, the blank. Choose the stronger fit from 1. Test the published live version only. Test the latest draft in Copilot Studio before publishing, or publish the draft to production before testing. Statement 2. Identify the clue in. To validate the desktop automation through agent orchestration, the blank. Choose the stronger fit from 2. Add the desktop flow directly to the agent as a tool. Test the desktop flow only in the Power Automate for desktop console, or use a cloud flow that runs the desktop flow and add the cloud flow to the agent as a tool. After elimination, Statement 1 uses test the latest draft in Copilot Studio before publishing. Draft testing verifies the current agent configuration before a live version is created. After elimination, Statement 2 use a cloud flow that runs the desktop flow and add the cloud flow to the agent as a tool. The cloud flow provides the supported agent tool boundary and can trigger the desktop flow through Power Automate. Don't add a desktop flow directly as a Copilot Studio tool. Use a supported Cloudflow tool boundary to invoke desktop automation. Then test the draft agent through that complete path before publishing. Question number 11. Find the decisive clue before choosing. We are moving to agent performance metrics. Pay attention to qualifiers such as least, most, and minimum. Litware Retail has a Copilot Studio support agent grounded in a product knowledge base. Users report occasional, factually inaccurate generated answers. The team must use Copilot Studio Analytics to identify the affected generated responses and inspect the sessions in which they occurred. Which 2 analytics views or metrics should the team use? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. You need precisely 2 selections. Compare the options by fit, not by familiarity. Consider option A, engagement, resolution, and escalation rates. Consider option B, generated answer rate and quality. Consider option C, topic usage and topics with low resolution. Consider option D, session information and session outcomes. Consider option E, survey results. The required combination is option B, generated answer rate and quality, and option D, session information and session outcomes. The requirement to solution match is the generated answer rate and quality analytics can identify generated responses with poor quality and drill down to the user questions that contributed to the metric. Session information and outcomes provide the conversation-level context needed to inspect the sessions in which those responses occurred. Now eliminate the distractors. A. High-level engagement, resolution, and escalation rates reveal outcome trends, but do not directly identify inaccurate generated answers. C. Topic usage and low-resolution analysis can help optimize topic coverage, but is less direct than generated answer quality for the stated factual quality problem. E. Survey results capture user feedback, but do not directly expose generated answer quality together with the required session context. A useful exam pattern is this. For generative answer problems, start with generated answer rate and quality, then drill into question and session data to understand the underlying conversation. Question number 12 contains an important exam distinction. This scenario tests whether you recognize the controlling constraint. Woodgrove Bank deploys Azure OpenAI resources for agents in multiple geographies. Governance requires that new resources can be created only in an approved set of Azure regions, and that deployed resources are continually evaluated against cloud compliance controls. Choose the service for each governance requirement. Complete every statement by matching the requirement to the option. Now solve statement 1. To restrict deployment to approved Azure regions, use the blank. Compare 1. Microsoft Purview, Azure Policy, Microsoft Sentinel, Azure Monitor, or Microsoft Defender for Cloud against the requirement. Now solve statement 2. To continuously assess compliance of deployed resources, use the blank. Compare to Azure Monitor, Microsoft Defender for Cloud, Microsoft Purview, Azure Policy, or Microsoft Sentinel against the requirement. For statement 1, the best fit is Azure Policy. Azure Policy is the preventive governance control for allowed Azure locations. For statement 2, the best fit is Microsoft Defender for Cloud. Defender for Cloud is the continuous compliance assessment service for cloud resources. Use this elimination rule in the exam. Use Azure Policy for preventive resource rules. Use Defender for Cloud for ongoing cloud security and regulatory compliance assessment. Question number 13. Find the decisive clue before choosing. Look for the wording that eliminates the distractors. Alpine Biotech uses Microsoft Foundry models in a regulated research solution. The governance team wants a low administration Microsoft service that can help investigate AI usage, show when sensitive governed data appears in AI interactions, and support data security and compliance oversight. Which service is the best fit among the available choices? Eliminate every option that violates even one requirement. Consider option A, Azure API Management. Consider option B, Azure Stream Analytics. Consider option C, Azure Monitor. Consider option D, Azure Policy. Consider option E, Microsoft Purview. The required response is option E, Microsoft Purview. Here is the reasoning that confirms the answer. Microsoft Purview provides data security, compliance, audit, classification, and AI activity capabilities that can surface AI interactions and sensitive information usage. Among the choices, it is the best fit when the requirement centers on governed data usage and compliance oversight for AI interactions. The incorrect choices are plausible, but unsuitable because A, Azure API Management governs and secures API exposure, but is not the primary service for investigating governed data usage in AI interactions. B, Azure Stream Analytics processes streaming data and does not provide the required data governance and compliance investigation capabilities. C, Azure Monitor provides operational telemetry, logs, and metrics, but does not replace Purview for sensitive data governance and AI interaction compliance oversight. D, Azure Policy evaluates and enforces Azure resource configuration, but does not provide the required investigation of sensitive data used in AI interactions. Remember this decision rule. Distinguish resource compliance and operational telemetry from data security governance. When the decisive requirement is sensitive data usage, AI interaction auditing, and compliance oversight, evaluate Microsoft Purview. Focus on the key wording in question number 14. This question moves us into agent voice and reasoning. Focus on the requirement that drives the design choice. Wide World Importers is designing a Copilot Studio agent for dispatch coordinators. It must conduct interactive spoken conversations and use stronger deliberative reasoning when choosing among complex operational actions. Drag each requirement to the design capability that best satisfies it. First, identify what each source item actually does. Source 1, provide an interactive spoken conversation experience. Source 2, improve decision quality for complex questions that benefit from deeper reasoning. Use these destination clues to complete the mapping. Target A, speech synthesis markup language, SSML. Target B, a deep reasoning model. Target C, Azure language and Foundry tools. Target D, Copilot Studio voice features. Target E, Azure AI speech. For mapping 1, provide an interactive spoken conversation experience. Satisfies Copilot Studio voice features. For mapping 2, improve decision quality for complex questions that benefit from deeper reasoning. Satisfies a deep reasoning model. The key clue points here because Copilot Studio voice features provide the interactive agent voice experience, while a deep reasoning model is the option intended to improve deliberative decision-making and response accuracy for complex tasks. Watch for this clue in similar questions. Voice UX and reasoning are separate design concerns. Choose the agent's native voice capability for interaction and the appropriate reasoning model for complex decisions. Start by identifying the requirement in question number 15. First, locate the key operational constraint. Southridge Energy maintains a Copilot Studio agent and a hosted Microsoft Foundry agent in source control. Development, test, and production must remain isolated. Every release must pass through test, and be promoted to production by a repeatable automated pipeline with no manual import steps. Select the deployment method for each agent. Treat each blank as a separate decision and choose the best fit. The first blank appears in, for the Copilot Studio agent, use the blank. Eliminate between 1. A bicep-only deployment, a Microsoft Power Platform deployment pipeline, or a manual export from source control followed by import. The second blank appears in, for the hosted Microsoft Foundry agent, use the blank. Eliminate between 2. A Microsoft Power Platform deployment pipeline, a bicep file as the complete agent release mechanism, or an Azure DevOps pipeline. The clue in the first statement points to a Microsoft Power Platform deployment pipeline. The Copilot Studio asset belongs to the Power Platform ALM lifecycle and can be promoted through Power Platform deployment pipelines. The clue in the second statement points to an Azure DevOps pipeline. Hosted Foundry agents can use source-driven CI/CD through Azure DevOps with Azure Developer CLI automation. Exam strategy. Choose ALM tooling by platform boundary. Power Platform pipelines for Copilot Studio solution assets and source-based CI/CD such as Azure DevOps for hosted Foundry agents. Let's break down question number 16. Start by separating the facts from the requirement. Contoso Professional Services uses a Copilot Studio and Power Platform solution across sales, marketing, and customer service. Leadership is calculating return on AI investment and wants business drivers that can be measured directly from operational outcomes. Which 2 drivers should be included? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. The selection count is 2. Use it as a constraint. Now compare the choices 1 requirement at a time. Option A is increased employee productivity. Option B is brand awareness. Option C is reduced average case resolution time. Option D is market capitalization. Option E is economic market predictability. The correct selections are Option A, increased employee productivity, and Option C, reduced average case resolution time. The decisive reason is employee productivity and case resolution time are directly measurable operational outcomes that can be compared with a baseline and tied to the AI solution's business impact. The remaining options fail 1 or more requirements because B, brand awareness is broad and difficult to attribute directly to this operational AI solution. D, market capitalization is influenced by many external factors and is not a direct solution-level ROI driver. E, macroeconomic predictability is outside the controllable operational outcomes of the solution. Prefer ROI drivers that are measurable, attributable, and comparable with a pre-AI baseline. Work through question number 17. Step by step. This question moves us into AI adoption strategy. Background. A global food distributor is modernizing its sales platform and introducing AI-enabled business solutions. Current environment. Sales and infrastructure workloads currently run on legacy on-premises systems. Business requirements. Future infrastructure workloads must run in Azure, and the organization will adopt Dynamics 365 and AI capabilities as part of the modernization. Technical requirements. The infrastructure migration must follow Microsoft's recommended methodology for planning, governing, and executing cloud adoption. Which framework should the solution architect recommend for the infrastructure migration? Review the options and eliminate any clear mismatch. Choice A, Success by Design. Choice B, Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure. Choice C, Microsoft Power Platform Center of Excellence. Choice D, Microsoft Power Platform Project Setup Wizard. The correct choice is Option B, Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure. The Microsoft Cloud Adoption Framework for Azure provides Microsoft structured guidance for cloud strategy, planning, readiness, adoption, governance, management, and secure cloud operations. A. Success by Design focuses on successful Dynamics 365 implementation rather than the overall Azure infrastructure migration methodology. C. The Power Platform Center of Excellence supports Power Platform governance and adoption, not the Azure migration framework. D. The Project Setup Wizard is not the Microsoft Cloud Adoption methodology required for this infrastructure program. A useful exam pattern is this. When the requirement is Microsoft's end-to-end Azure Cloud Adoption methodology, choose the Cloud Adoption Framework rather than a Dynamics or Power Platform implementation framework. Next is question number 18. Lucerne Industrial uses Dynamics 365 Sales. Its lead table contains custom columns and internal terminology that differs from standard sales language. The architect wants Copilot experiences to interpret the existing fields correctly while minimizing duplicate configuration. How should the business terminology be configured? The choices are: Option A, use each column's schema name as the business term. Option B, concatenate all relevant columns into a single custom text column. Option C, use the glossary to map business terms to the existing table columns and add synonyms where needed. Option D, create a separate new custom column for every business term regardless of the existing table structure. The option that satisfies the complete requirement is Option C. Use the glossary to map business terms to the existing table columns and add synonyms where needed. This option satisfies the complete requirement because Copilot in Dynamics 365 Sales supports glossary terms that map organization-specific business terminology to columns in existing tables, while synonyms provide alternative names for those columns. This improves interpretation without duplicating or redesigning the underlying data model. Check why each remaining option is not the best fit. A. Schema names are technical identifiers and do not provide the business-friendly terminology mapping required by the scenario. B. Combining fields into a new text column unnecessarily changes the data model and does not provide the intended glossary-based semantic mapping. D. Creating a new custom column for every term duplicates configuration and data model elements when glossary terms and synonyms can map organizational language to existing columns. Use this elimination rule in the exam. For Dynamics 365 Sales terminology, think glossary plus synonyms. Map business terms to existing table columns and add alternate names without redesigning the schema. Now tackle question number 19. Identify the requirement in this scenario. Humongous Insurance is designing two Copilot Studio agents. Both must use standard non-generative topic recognition. The first agent only needs to recognize short, simple topic phrases. The second will operate as a voice agent integrated with Dynamics 365 Contact Center. Drag each agent requirement to the most appropriate language understanding option. Review the source capabilities. The first source candidate is recognize short and simple topic phrases without generative orchestration. The second source candidate is support a voice-enabled Dynamics 365 Contact Center agent while remaining on standard topic recognition. Compare the sources against these target requirements. Requirement A, Natural Language Understanding Plus, NLU Plus. Requirement B, Azure OpenAI. Requirement C, Natural Language Understanding, NLU. Requirement D, Conversational Language Understanding, CLU. Requirement E, Azure Language and Foundry Tools. Match recognize short and simple topic phrases without generative orchestration. With Natural Language Understanding, NLU, because their roles align. Match support a voice-enabled Dynamics 365 Contact Center agent while remaining on standard topic recognition. With Natural Language Understanding Plus, NLU Plus, because their roles align. The requirement to solution match is standard NLU is sufficient for straightforward topic trigger matching. NLU Plus is the enhanced Copilot Studio language understanding option suited to higher accuracy and supported voice/contact center scenarios without switching to generative orchestration. Remember this decision rule. Choose NLU for ordinary classic topic matching. Choose NLU Plus when the standard model scenario requires the enhanced language understanding path, especially for supported voice deployments. Question number 20. Tests careful elimination. Next, we enter the topic of M365 Copilot agents. Identify the decisive constraint before considering the options. Coho Engineering wants an agent available through Microsoft 365 Copilot, but the company must use proprietary orchestration logic, call external APIs, and host the custom orchestration service in Azure rather than rely on Microsoft 365 Copilot's built-in orchestrator. What should the architect include? Watch for distractors that are valid services but wrong for this scenario. Next, Option A, Microsoft Power Platform connectors only. Next, Option B, a custom engine agent. Next, Option C, Copilot Studio skills only. The best answer is Option B, a custom engine agent. Here is the reasoning that confirms the answer. Custom engine agents provide control over orchestration, AI models, and data integrations, and can connect to external systems and APIs. Pro-code custom engine components can be hosted outside Microsoft 365, such as in Azure, while the agent is surfaced through Microsoft 365 Copilot. Here is how to rule out the alternatives. A. Connectors can expose external actions, but do not by themselves replace Microsoft 365 Copilot's orchestration with the required proprietary externally hosted engine. C. Copilot Studio skills alone do not define the required architecture for a pro-code externally hosted orchestration service. Watch for this clue in similar questions. Use a custom engine agent when the business requires its own orchestration, models, or externally hosted runtime, rather than merely extending the built-in Copilot orchestrator with actions. Let's analyze question number 21. Read the scenario with the target outcome in mind. Consolidated Messenger is creating a prompt library shared by finance, operations, HR, and sales. Prompts must produce consistent structures, be reusable, and have lightweight governance with change history and version control. Complete the prompt library design. For the first statement, evaluate. To improve consistency and reuse, the blank. The candidates are 1. Maintain only a prompt history, define standardized prompt templates, or delegate every prompt format independently to each department. For the second statement, evaluate. To support governance and version control, the blank. The candidates are 2. Categorize prompts only by business function, store prompts in a Git repository, or define standardized prompt templates without source control. Complete statement 1 with define standardized prompt templates. Standard templates solve the consistency and reuse requirement. Complete statement 2 with store prompts in a Git repository. Git supplies explicit version control and auditable change history. Exam strategy. Treat enterprise prompts as managed assets. Standardize reusable templates and version them in a controlled repository. Focus on the key wording in question number 22. This hard item requires systematic elimination. The key exam clue is contained in this scenario. Datum Healthcare has a Microsoft Foundry solution in which one agent and one prompt perform a long sequence of specialized tasks. Results are often incomplete, and domain-specific reasoning is weak. The architect wants to improve execution of the specialized task sequence and domain accuracy without simply making the model larger. Drag each improvement goal to the architecture action that best addresses it. The source list is: the first source candidate is improve execution of the long sequence of specialized tasks. The second source candidate is improve domain-specific answer accuracy. Now identify the requirement represented by each destination. Destination A. Add a pre-built connector. Destination B. Upgrade to a larger generative AI model. Destination C. Add an authoritative grounding data source. Destination D. Move to a multi-agent architecture. The requirement move to a multi-agent architecture is best met by improve execution of the long sequence of specialized tasks. The requirement add an authoritative grounding data source is best met by improved domain-specific answer accuracy. The key clue points here because a multi-agent architecture can divide a long sequence of genuinely specialized responsibilities among agents with clearer roles and orchestration. An authoritative grounding source supplies trusted domain context, directly addressing weak domain-specific accuracy. Use multi-agent architecture when distinct specialized responsibilities justify separation and orchestration. Use grounding to address missing domain knowledge. Neither a larger model nor extra orchestration automatically solves every performance problem. Let's break down question number 23. Start by separating the facts from the requirement. Margie's Bank uses Dynamics 365 Finance. Analysts manually review transaction histories and calculate fraud risk indicators before deciding whether to escalate a case. The company wants AI to automate the repeatable analysis, but requires a human analyst to make the final fraud decision. Which agent design should you recommend? Use the scenario constraints to assess these choices. Option A is an autonomous agent that closes all transactions assessed as low risk without analyst review. Option B is a task agent that calculates fraud risk indicators and presents them to the human analyst. Option C is Microsoft 365 Copilot in Word to finalize fraud policies automatically. Option D is a Power BI export that leaves the review process unchanged. After elimination, select Option B, a task agent that calculates fraud risk indicators and presents them to the human analyst. The decisive reason is a task agent is appropriate for automating a bounded analytical task while keeping the accountable human in the final decision path, satisfying both efficiency and oversight requirements. Now eliminate the distractors. A. Autonomously closing cases removes the required human final decision. C. Drafting or finalizing policy documents does not automate the transaction review task. D. Reporting data in Power BI does not perform the required agentic review automation. A useful exam pattern is this. When human judgment must remain authoritative, automate the bounded task and preserve a clear human review or approval step. Move to question number 24. Identify the requirement in this scenario. Contoso Energy is building a Copilot Studio agent that must ground answers in historical operational information currently spread across Azure SQL, flat files, API-fed records, and logs. The architect needs a searchable knowledge layer that can index heterogeneous enterprise content for grounding. Which service should be included? Review the options. Choice A, Azure Data Lake Storage. Choice B, Azure AI Search. Choice C, Azure Cosmos DB. Choice D, Azure Translator and Foundry tools. The required response is option B, Azure AI Search. Azure AI Search is designed to index and retrieve content from heterogeneous enterprise data sources and can serve as a grounded retrieval layer for generative AI and agent scenarios. The incorrect choices are plausible, but unsuitable because A. Data lake storage can centralize files, but does not by itself provide the required search/index retrieval layer. C. Cosmos DB is an operational database. It is not the primary heterogeneous knowledge index service described. D. Translator addresses language translation, not enterprise grounding and retrieval. Use this elimination rule in the exam. When the requirement is a searchable grounding layer over diverse enterprise content, think retrieval/indexing rather than raw storage. For question number 25, separate the requirement from the distractors. Identify the decisive constraint before considering the options. Northwind Parts is deploying agents for a Dynamics 365 commerce experience and a Power Apps inventory application. Both agents must use the same governed product catalog so updates are made once and become available consistently to multiple AI systems. What data architecture should you recommend? Compare the options by fit, not by familiarity. Consider option A. Let each agent scrape product details independently from SharePoint libraries. Consider option B. Centralize the product catalog in Microsoft Dataverse and expose it to both agents. Consider option C. Create a separate custom catalog table for every agent. Consider option D. Ground each agent only in vendor PDF files. After elimination, select option B. Centralize the product catalog in Microsoft Dataverse and expose it to both agents. This option satisfies the complete requirement because Dataverse provides a shared governed business data layer that can act as a consistent source of truth for Power Platform, Dynamics 365, and connected AI experiences. The remaining options fail one or more requirements because A. Independent scraping creates duplication, inconsistent data, and weak governance. C. Per agent tables fragment the source of truth and increase synchronization effort. D. Vendor PDFs are not a reliable, centrally governed catalog for all participating systems. Remember this decision rule. For data reused by multiple business AI systems, favor a governed shared source of truth rather than per agent copies. Approach question number 26. By checking every constraint, look for the wording that eliminates the distractors. Fabricam has an AI portfolio containing quick productivity pilots, medium-term process redesigns, and long-term strategic innovations. Executives want one evaluation approach that recognizes immediate financial returns while also accounting for longer-term strategic value. Which approach should the architect recommend? Watch for distractors that are valid services but wrong for this scenario. Next, option A. Use only a simple cost-benefit calculation for every initiative. Next, option B. Use a horizon-based evaluation framework. Next, option C. Rank initiatives only by internal rate of return. Next, option D. Use a prioritization grid without separating time horizons. The correct choice is option B. Use a horizon-based evaluation framework. The requirement to solution match is a horizon-based framework separates near medium dash, and long-term value, allowing immediate measurable benefits and strategic innovation to be evaluated with appropriate expectations. A single short-term cost-benefit view can undervalue strategic initiatives whose benefits mature later. C. IRR alone is a financial metric and does not capture broader strategic value across different maturity horizons. D. A generic prioritization grid does not inherently address the different time horizons required by the scenario. Watch for this clue in similar questions. AI portfolios often need different value measures by maturity horizon. Don't force every initiative into the same short-term ROI lens. Question number 27. Find the decisive clue before choosing. Pay attention to qualifiers such as least, most, and minimum. Graphic Design Institute is standardizing a Power Platform data layer that combines records from internal and external systems. The same governed data must support Copilot Studio agents, Dynamics 365 applications, external AI models, grounding, and analytics, with built-in business data security and classification capabilities. Which platform should be the central business data source? Eliminate every option that violates even one requirement. Consider option A, Azure Data Lake Storage. Consider option B, a Power BI semantic model. Consider option C, Microsoft Dataverse. Consider option D, Azure Cosmos DB. The option that satisfies the complete requirement is option C, Microsoft Dataverse. Here is the reasoning that confirms the answer. Dataverse is the Power Platform business data platform designed to provide governed, structured data shared across Dynamics 365, Power Platform, Copilot experiences, and integrations, with security and data management capabilities. Check why each remaining option is not the best fit. A. Data Lake Storage is excellent for scalable storage, but does not provide the same native Power Platform business data governance and application model. B. A Power BI semantic model is optimized for analytics consumption, not as the transactional governed source for all agents and applications. D. Cosmos DB is a scalable operational database, but lacks Dataverse's native Power Platform and Dynamics business data integration and governance model. Exam strategy. When the scenario centers on a shared governed Power Platform / Dynamics business data layer, Dataverse is usually the architectural anchor. Question number 28. Focus. We are moving to AI ROI analysis. Scenario. Contoso Telecom plans an autonomous customer service application that resolves routine interactions, escalates complex cases, and uses historical ticket data. Leadership has already defined the target business outcomes and established the current process baseline. The architect must now establish the total cost basis required for the return on AI investment analysis. Which action should the architect take to establish the cost basis for the analysis? Options. Option A. Conduct an AI market benchmarking study. Option B. Identify and quantify development, deployment, licensing, support, and operating costs. Option C. Model the future customer experience in detail. Option D. Establish only the AI model performance metrics. The best answer is option B. Identify and quantify development, deployment, licensing, support, and operating costs. The key clue points here because once business outcomes and the current process baseline are established, the cost side of ROAI requires a defensible total cost of ownership basis. Development, deployment, licensing, support, and ongoing operating costs capture the major lifecycle cost categories needed for that analysis. Here is how to rule out the alternatives. A. Market benchmarking can provide context, but does not establish the organization's actual solution cost basis. C. Customer experience modeling can help estimate benefits, but does not quantify total solution costs. D. Model performance metrics measure technical quality and do not capture the full investment and operating cost. Build ROAI from a business baseline plus measurable outcomes and full TCO. After the baseline is established, include lifecycle costs rather than only model or infrastructure metrics. For question number 29, separate the requirement from the distractors. Background. Contoso Industrial Services is replacing several legacy sales applications with Dynamics 365 sales and a Dataverse-centered architecture. Current environment. Field account executives frequently work while inspecting customer sites and cannot reliably type during conversations. Business requirements. Executives must ask an AI agent about customer records and internal procedures by using hands-free speech. Adoption of the agent is a major success criterion. Technical requirements. The solution should use Microsoft low-code agent capabilities and provide a conversational voice experience. Which capability should the architect recommend for the agent? Compare the options by fit, not by familiarity. Next, option A, AI chat in Microsoft Foundry. Next, option B, voice in Microsoft Copilot Studio. Next, option C, IT help desk in Microsoft Copilot Studio. Next, option D, AI agents in Microsoft Foundry. The required response is option B, voice in Microsoft Copilot Studio. The decisive reason is Copilot Studio supports voice-enabled agents for interactive spoken conversations. This satisfies the hands-free requirement while keeping the solution in Microsoft's low-code agent platform. Now eliminate the distractors. A. Foundry chat is not the low-code Copilot Studio voice capability required by the scenario. C. IT help desk is a use case-specific agent pattern and does not itself provide the required general voice capability. D. Foundry agents provide custom agent capabilities but are unnecessary when the requirement is specifically for a low-code conversational voice experience. A useful exam pattern is this. When spoken interaction is decisive, select the Copilot Studio voice capability rather than assuming a particular name template must exist. Next is question number 30. Background. Northwind Medical Devices is standardizing its opportunity management process on Dynamics 365 sales. Current environment. Sales representatives currently spend significant time drafting follow-up messages after prospect meetings. Business requirements. The company wants representatives to prepare prospect emails faster while remaining inside the Dynamics 365 sales experience. Technical requirements. The solution should use a native AI-assisted sales capability rather than a custom search or agent research implementation. Which capability should the architect recommend? Option A, deep research in Microsoft Foundry Agent Service. Option B, Copilot Email Assist. Option C, Azure AI Search. Option D, a Copilot Studio voice template. The correct choice is option B, Copilot Email Assist. Copilot Email Assist is designed to help sellers draft and refine email communication in the Dynamics 365 sales workflow. The incorrect choices are plausible, but unsuitable because A, deep research targets research-oriented agent tasks, not native sales email drafting. C, Azure AI Search is a retrieval service and does not provide the requested seller email assistance experience. D, voice capabilities address spoken interaction, not the prospect email requirement. Use this elimination rule in the exam. For seller productivity requirements inside Dynamics 365 Sales, prefer the native Sales Copilot capability before introducing custom AI infrastructure. Approach question number 31. By checking every constraint, the focus now shifts to Copilot Studio agents. Look for the wording that eliminates the distractors. AdventureWorks is creating a Dataverse-grounded low-code sales assistant. The agent must handle normal questions conversationally and route unresolved or unexpected interactions into a controlled fallback path. Complete each architectural recommendation by selecting the best option. Now solve statement 1. The low-code sales agent should be created by using the blank. The candidates are 1. Microsoft Foundry, Dynamics 365 Sales, Microsoft Copilot Studio, or the Power Platform Admin Center. Now solve statement 2. Unexpected or unhandled conversational behavior should be directed to the blank. The candidates are 2. A custom connector, an event trigger, a fallback topic, or a REST API. For statement 1, the best fit is Microsoft Copilot Studio. Copilot Studio is the low-code platform for authoring the required conversational agent. For statement 2, the best fit is a fallback topic. A fallback topic provides the controlled conversational path for inputs or outcomes that the agent cannot otherwise handle. Remember this decision rule. Separate the agent authoring platform from the topic used to handle unresolved conversational paths. Question number 32 contains an important exam distinction. This scenario tests whether you recognize the controlling constraint. Tailspin Toys wants employees to ask Microsoft 365 Copilot natural language questions that use permitted content from selected SharePoint sites and teams. Responses must remain grounded in the employee's Microsoft 365 context. What should the solution architect include in the design? Focus on which option satisfies the complete requirement. Option A. A Power Automate desktop flow that reads SharePoint pages and posts results to Teams. Option B. A custom REST crawler that independently copies SharePoint content. Option C. Microsoft Graph Access for Microsoft 365 organizational context. Option D. Manual modification of SharePoint site settings only. After elimination, select Option C, Microsoft Graph Access for Microsoft 365 organizational context. This option satisfies the complete requirement because Microsoft Graph is the Microsoft 365 data and context layer used to access organizational content according to the user's permissions and provide contextually relevant Copilot experiences. The remaining options fail one or more requirements because A desktop flow adds unnecessary automation and does not provide the Microsoft 365 grounding/context model. B. A custom crawler duplicates Microsoft 365 access and permission behavior and increases governance burden. D. Changing SharePoint settings alone does not provide the cross-Microsoft 365 contextual access required. Watch for this clue in similar questions. For Microsoft 365 Copilot grounding, preserve the Microsoft 365 permission boundary and prefer graph-backed organizational context over custom data copying. Work through question number 33. Step by step. Review the scenario and identify what must be achieved. Woodgrove Bank uses Dynamics 365 Finance for accounts payable and plans to enable Microsoft's pre-built AI capabilities for invoice processing users. Which prerequisite should the architect recommend for users who require the Finance AI experience? Use the scenario constraints to assess these choices. Option A is build an invoice processing tool in Microsoft Foundry. Option B is create a new accounts payable agent manually in Copilot Studio. Option C is assign the finance and operations AI security role through the Power Platform environment. Option D is extend Microsoft 365 Copilot for sales into accounts payable. The option that satisfies the complete requirement is Option C. Assign the finance and operations AI security role through the Power Platform environment. The requirement to solution match is the finance and operations AI security role provides the Dataverse side permissions required for supported Copilot functionality in finance and operations apps. A custom Foundry tool is unnecessary when the requirement is to enable the pre-built finance capability. B. The requirement is a prerequisite for the pre-built experience, not creation of a replacement agent. D. Copilot for sales targets sales scenarios and is not the prerequisite for Dynamics 365 Finance Accounts Payable AI. Exam strategy. When a Dynamics 365 pre-built AI feature already exists, identify its platform and security prerequisites before proposing a custom agent. Start by identifying the requirement in question number 34. Take extra care here. One qualifier may decide the answer. Read the scenario with the target outcome in mind. Litware is designing a customer-facing agent for Dynamics 365 Contact Center. The agent must answer routine questions and transfer a conversation to a live service representative when human assistance is required. Which two components should be included in the architecture? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Choose the best two answers and verify both. Review the options and eliminate any clear mismatch. Choice A, Microsoft 365 Agents Toolkit. Choice B, a Customer Engagement Hub. Choice C, Microsoft Copilot Studio. Choice D, Microsoft Foundry. Choice E, an Azure AI bot service skill. After checking every constraint, choose option B, a Customer Engagement Hub, and option C, Microsoft Copilot Studio. Here is the reasoning that confirms the answer. Copilot Studio provides the agent and escalation behavior, while a Customer Engagement Hub supplies the live agent routing and conversation handoff surface. Check why each remaining option is not the best fit. A. The Agents Toolkit is not the required contact center handoff pair. D. Foundry is not required for this native Copilot Studio to contact center escalation pattern. E. An Azure AI bot service skill is not the standard component for the requested live agent handoff architecture. Contact center escalation needs both the conversational agent layer and the customer engagement routing layer. Question number 35 is a good test of exam judgment. Focus on the requirement that drives the design choice. Fabrica Manufacturing uses Dynamics 365 supply chain management. Managers want concise AI-generated information about individual sales orders, while demand planners need AI assistance to analyze shifts, trends, anomalies, and other patterns in demand plans. Select the best Copilot capability for each requirement. Solve the blanks one at a time. Do not carry assumptions between them. Statement 1. Identify the clue in. To surface key information directly from sales order context, use the blank. Choose the stronger fit from 1. AI summaries with Copilot. Analyze demand plans with Copilot. Customer credit and collections workspace, or workload insights with Copilot. Statement 2. Identify the clue in. To help planners analyze demand plan patterns, use the blank. Choose the stronger fit from 2. Analyze demand plans with Copilot, Microsoft Power BI, Product Information Management, or Supplier Communications Agent. Complete Statement 1 with AI Summaries with Copilot. AI Summaries with Copilot includes a sales order summary that surfaces important information from the selected order context. Complete Statement 2 with Analyze Demand Plans with Copilot. Analyze Demand Plans with Copilot provides natural language analysis of demand plan data, including shifts, trends, anomalies, deviations, and accuracy. A useful exam pattern is this. Match transactional context summaries to AI summaries with Copilot and demand plan analysis to analyze demand plans with Copilot. Prefer the current generally available capability when a preview alternative is not required. Question number 36. Tests careful elimination. Next, we enter the topic of computer use agents. Identify the decisive constraint before considering the options. Prosware wants a Copilot Studio agent to complete tasks in a legacy supplier portal that has no suitable API. The agent must click interface controls, type values, and read information rendered on web pages. Which capability should the architect recommend? Eliminate every option that violates even one requirement. Next, Option A, Model Context Protocol, MCP. Next, Option B, Computer Use in Copilot Studio. Next, Option C, a standard NLU Plus model. Next, Option D, Copilot Skills Only. The required response is Option B, Computer Use in Copilot Studio. The key clue points here because computer use is intended for agents that automate supported apps and websites through user interface interaction when direct AP is or unavailable or unsuitable. Here is how to rule out the alternatives. A. MCP exposes tools and context through a protocol. It does not itself perform screen-level UI interaction. C. An NLU model interprets language, but does not automate buttons, fields, and screens. D. Generic skills do not provide the requested UI automation behavior. Use this elimination rule in the exam. Use computer use for UI-level automation. Use connectors, AP-is, or MCP when structured tool access is available. Question number 37. Find the decisive clue before choosing. Pay attention to qualifiers such as least, most, and minimum. Contoso Retail is connecting a Copilot Studio agent to a Dynamics 365 contact center chat channel. Customers must be able to request a human representative at any point during a conversation. Which Copilot Studio design element should be used for that explicit escalation path? Watch for distractors that are valid services but wrong for this scenario. Consider Option A, the conversation start topic. Consider Option B, an agent flow. Consider Option C, the escalate topic. Consider Option D, a generic Power Automate connector. Consider Option E, a skill. The best answer is Option C, the escalate topic. The decisive reason is the escalate topic is the system conversational path designed to initiate transfer/escalation to a human agent when supported by the connected engagement channel. Now eliminate the distractors. A. Conversation start initializes a session rather than handling an escalation request. B. An agent flow automates work but is not the built-in human escalation conversational path. D. A connector alone does not implement the standard escalation behavior. E. A skill is not the built-in topic used for live agent handoff. Remember this decision rule. When the user explicitly asks for a person, look for the built-in escalation/handoff topic rather than a generic automation action. You have completed set 1 of the AB-100 Agentic AI Business Solutions Architect Practice Question Series. How did you score? Share your result in the comments. Work through all the sets to build broader exam readiness and cover more practice questions. Please like this video, subscribe to Tech with Koushik, and enable notifications for more certification exam preparation content. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in another practice set.